is coming, and now Keir Starmer and his spokespeople have taken an issue with this, and they've said that these people who are rioting do not speak for Britain, and he also said there's no justification for Elon's comments and that they are quite divisive, and what we see here is just regular old thuggery and not the spirit of a nation in a powder keg form about to kick off. That's my understanding of it.
Well, OK, so obviously all the violence is completely unwelcome. I agree with Keir Starmer on that.
Agreed.
There's no place for it in Britain. Totally agree. But when he says there's no justification for comments like that, I mean, I think Elon Musk makes you... sorry, not Elon. Starmer makes you look like a good listener, doesn't he, Lewis? Because he hasn't necessarily got the measure of how everybody feels.
Well, I think Keir Starmer should just be happy that someone's paying attention to Britain. I mean, and especially someone like Elon Musk, who is maybe one of the greatest... I mean, I can't think of greater people in what he's done. I don't want to say great things about it because you never know. The way that people are so hopped up about the situation right now. You say a nice thing about Elon Musk, and they take it in the wrong way. The truth is that, first of all, civil war is always happening everywhere. We're against. No,
you think civil war is always happening.
It always has happened in this country.
We're quite a peaceful nation.
You grew up in the original Civil War, didn't you? You lived through it.
I'm not that old. What do you mean? Don't say that to these people. They think I'm young and handsome. Anyway,
you are handsome.
Anyway, the British people have had civil war. I'm not saying civil war is coming, but I think from when you're having an outside looking in, which is what's happened in Britain, is worrying. And the fact that Keir Starmer calls one side thugs and you know,
Well, I think that's an issue, isn't it? That hasn't been very even. And Jonathan, do you think maybe if he had made the speech he's just made, if he'd made that maybe 6 months ago, maybe back in October, I mean, obviously he wasn't Prime Minister then, but things would be a bit different, where he's just ramping this up now, and he's been quite explicit about taking one side.
We think it's, well, A, too little, too late, and B, quite biased and divisive. So,
yes,
I mean,
he wouldn't have gotten elected if he had said that, because his core audience, as we would call it in the comedy business, the people who like Labour are those people. They're not people. I'm not going to say like me. It wouldn't be me. I'm not even from this country. But so you shouldn't trash. Or maybe you should trash. I don't think it's just thuggery.
I think good luck to Keir Starmer having a fight with Elon Musk online. You know what's going to happen next? There might be a real fight. They love that, don't they? Calling Elon Musk out for a fight is quite fashionable.
In the Colosseum.
Now, OK, let's move on. What's the Eye going with, Lewis?
The Eye is going, which is a newspaper, and I guess it came from the Independent or something. But the UK to deploy a standing army of riot police, but officers fear shortage, and the truth is that there should be a standing. There should be always soldiers and policemen all over the country, and historically there has been. I don't know why they have to say that this is the case, because it's always been the case. When there are riots, they should just say, hey, you know what? We don't need to have a standing army. We've got a standing army.
Well, it's almost like Elon Musk has got a point, isn't it? They're not concerned about civil war, and yet we've got all these extra riot police. I think it is just police at this stage, isn't it? He specifically says the police are very clear, they've got the power and resources.
They're looking for 6,000 officers, apparently.
Right, so at this point, it's not actually the military coming in.
That's next year's film. So
it says here a Telegram channel with a membership of nearly 12,000 people is sort of... It's got posts organising these events, and it's even got lists of immigration lawyers and asylum advice centres with instructions to attack them in the middle of this week. That's really dangerous,
That doesn't sound good at
all.
all.
And I think one of the problems with this is that it gives Keir Starmer more rein to start locking down on things like communication stuff. It gives him a reason to have more control, right?
I don't know if it's rein. I think it's a bad way of handling it. It's a bad way. People are upset out there. They're really upset about what's happened in their country, and they feel that I'm here. I'm not from this country. I don't like this place. But I can see how if you lived here, you grew up here, you could say, I don't like the way it's changed. Some people, other people think it's getting better every single day. But there's still a lot of people. And if that many it's not like one Telegram group, or it's not like Farage calling people on the phone saying, meet me over there and I'll, no.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
I don't think Nigel Farage would want to be involved in these Telegram groups.
But he was blamed, and they're blaming individuals when the truth is people are very upset. If he had just said, you know what, people are really upset, it's still against the law and you're going to go to jail, so stop doing it.
Which one, Farage or Starmer?
If Starmer had said that, but he didn't say that. He just said, you're going to jail, as if you don't have any reason to complain.
Well, that's it, isn't it? There's no sort of acknowledgement that some of the people in these not doing the violence.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Get them in the docks. I totally agree with that. But some of the people who've been at some of these events have legitimate concerns about their country, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, Starmer's absolutely right to condemn the violence and do everything he can to stop it, but at the same time, completely ignoring the underlying reasons and frustrations and whatever, people have, not even say that they're all legitimate. Some might be, some might not be. You've still got to address, basically, the zeitgeist of the people. Otherwise, you get events like this and people get hurt.
But then again, his vacation, he had to cancel his vacation, and that makes people very upset.
But that's called just a oil block in the airport.
That's his justification for why.
Fair enough. Something different in the Times, Jonathan.
Yes, something different, and you might even say boring, because it's economic. So this headline is, well, the actual headline is Musk draws fire from PM with claim of civil war, but the story we're going to discuss is the biggest FTSE fall for a year after alarming figures from the US. So this is an economic story. I did actually get Leo Kearse on the phone to explain it, but I didn't understand his accent, so I'm going to do my best. OK, so the FTSE 100 suffered its worst single day of trading in more than a year as concerns about the strength of the American economy caused a global equity market sell-off. Everybody's selling. A bunch of the online traders, like Robinhood, I think they've actually stopped. I mean, I don't want to be wrong about this. I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. But I think they actually stopped trading for a bit to stop people selling off. And there's all this kind of chaos and FUD and fear, and everyone's just kind of getting their stuff.
I think you're
buy high, sell low.
No, you know what? You're being totally wrong about the entire thing. Everybody isn't selling because every time somebody sells, there's somebody buying. It's not like they're throwing it in the canal.
Well, excuse me for talking about things I don't understand.
They might want to sell, and it's like it's only dropped the Dow is down 2.6%, Nasdaq is down 3.4%, the FTSE is down 2.8%.
I just switch off at this.
I know, because you didn't listen. If you would listen, you wouldn't say I had to call that. You make a joke about Leo Kearse. You could have asked me.
I know
you
it's
told me to
having
buy
Thomas
gold.
Sowell in the studio. Right, finally, let's have a quick look at the Daily Star, Lewis.
This is a good one. Good news. Do you think I'm orange? Rod Stewart was making fun of what's his name? Of Donald Trump, because he said that what's her name?
Linda McCartney.
Camilla.
Who are the people in this story? Can we just get that before the break?
I should have written it down. It's Camilla Harris, whatever, the vice president, and saying she said
Kamala.
Kamala, right? She said she was Indian once, and now she's black, and people depending on who they're talking to. I'm an American sometimes, and I'm an idiot other times, and so he made fun of, and so it made it seem like a lot of people had walked out of his show. And I don't know if he did.
Any thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's quite funny to make fun of Trump being orange. I've not heard anyone do it before, so well done.
Brilliant. OK, that's the front covers out of the way. Join us in part 2 for news of dangerous Britain, as if we haven't had it already. What happened at the Cobra meeting today, and the latest on that Olympic boxing story as it rumbles on. See you in 2.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GBNews.
Karen Stevenson was born in Stoke-on-Trent and read music at Trinity College, Cambridge. She's played cello with many of the world's great orchestras under the batons of some of the most renowned conductors, and she joins me now to discuss her career and the importance of music in education. Tell me about that. What is your role at the Philharmonia?
My role at the Philharmonia is number 2 cello. I've been there for about 15 years. Sometimes I play number 1 cello as well, which is a great opportunity for me. Well,
it's interesting you say that, because I often think what a very difficult life it is to be a professional musician.
I make a living out of it. It is definitely possible. We don't really like it when we get into a taxi and someone says, "What's your day job?" Because we work really hard.
I was kind of making the opposite point. Not that you'd also have a day job. I think the perfection that is required for a professional musician is extraordinary. On the whole, we are intolerant of mistakes in classical music.
Yes, we are.
And I just wondered whether you don't become very frustrated with a world in which everything else is imperfect,
You are only as good as your last concert, Michael. That's how it feels. It is a lot of pressure. Sometimes we will say, OK, a pint for every wrong note or something, but that, if depending on the piece of music, that could be quite dangerous.
How many hours a day do you have to practice?
You have to practice much more when you're younger, I think, when you're learning. I think this is really important. And when you're at music college, I'm a busy, I'm travelling, I have a family. I can't practice as much as I used to, so you have to rely on your experience. What I really wanted to say is that there's been a lot of fear-mongering about classical music being in decline and it not being relevant, and I really wanted to say that I don't think that's the case. Our audiences have increased. They're the highest they've been in 10 years.
The People's Channel. Weekdays on GB News. Wake up to breakfast every day from 6 a.m. Followed by Britain's newsroom at 9:30. At noon, it's Good Afternoon Britain. Followed by Martin Daubney from 3 p.m. Only on GB News. The People's Channel. Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
It's true. You're not wrong. No one will be cancelled.
Lovely. Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Neil Oliver, every Sunday night at 6 p.m. on GB News. And if an hour is not nearly enough for you, go to gbnews.com for special extended episodes online every Friday at 9 p.m, where we can truly get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Cressida Wetton, still joined by the Are They, Aren't They Sun-Dad team, Jonathan Cogan and Lewis Schaefer. So beginning this section with Tuesday's Mirror, and apparently the world's tourists are being warned against UK holidays because it's too dangerous. Is this something to do with those pesky seagulls again, Jonathan?
Pesky seagulls? Or
They steal your chips, don't they?
Oh, I'll never let a bird take something from me.
Brilliant.
Not again.
Jonathan.
4 countries issue alerts warning passengers to stay away from UK areas amid riots. So last night, Malaysia became the first country to issue a travel warning to its citizens visiting the UK following a week of dangerous and violent protests. So today more have followed. So we've got Nigeria doing it, Indonesia and Australia. So it's official. The UK is now a cool, edgy place to come to on your gap year. You seem like an adventurous person. How exciting. Also, I quite like how Australia are doing it, where all of their wildlife is constantly trying to either kill you or eat you or lay eggs in you. So, Australia, we're wild too. Obviously, this is terrible.
Excellent spin on a terrible story.
That is a brilliant spin. I'm like a shock myself. I mean, it's of course, I'm afraid people are going to, like you say, people are going to watch this and they're going to come from their countries. And
no one's watching this.
They're watching it on TV. They don't even need to get some sort of, goes to the, whatever it is, their foreign ministry to find out what's going on in other countries.
I would, if I was travelling somewhere, if I was picking a holiday destination, I would have a look, see what's going on.
Do you want to know something? You're trying to blend in with the other nice people out there, but you would. I can't see you doing this. The truth is that, they're going to see. I agree with that.
I think this is very damaging to tourism, isn't it? If somebody sees that the UK's burning, I mean, some of the imagery we've seen in the last week has been horrendous.
Because this country, and the reason I came to this country 25 years ago,
I thought you were from here,
is that you have a view of what the country is, and it's totally not what people think it is.
Is it better or worse?
Better. It wasn't the way I thought it was going to be then, and it isn't the way I thought it was going to be now. It's just different.
Okay.
Is it better for me?
That is the story.
As we get older, as you get older, you'll realize you like a quiet life. You don't want rioting going on in the streets. When you're young, it says, wow, this is exciting. And I lived through some exciting rioting times in America. And I didn't think anything of it.
I can't imagine you in a... Well, I mean, I can imagine you causing one, obviously. I'm not...
You're like, I dropped my inhaler.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not much of a fighter. But do you think maybe it's, to quote you, a bit of a non-story, in that these foreign governments have to do that? They can't not... This is just what governments do, isn't it? You have... they have to give advice to their citizens.
Well, they've advised not to get involved in any, crowded riots, basically, which is good advice. But I think it's also kind of goes without saying, no?
And it also makes them happy, because these are 3 or 4 countries that hate Britain.
Allegedly.
I feel like
Allegedly.
Really?
Really?
Push back
They
on
do.
that. Australians don't hate us.
I think they totally
They
do.
love us.
I've
They
been
watch
there.
the Thick of Dipping.
They call you pommies, which is...
No, it's
Yeah.
terms of endearment. You should
And-
hear what I call you, Lewis.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. Right, today, Mark Rowley made headlines when he left a positive and constructive Cobra meeting, and I definitely believe him about that. Jonathan?
Cobra are the bad guys from G.I. Joe, aren't they?
Not in this case,
Okay.
no.
Have you seen it?
No.
Right. No. Well, read a book. So, in story in the Express, Met Police break silence after Chief Mark Rowley launches journalist Mike to the floor. So, for context, earlier today, Mark Rowley grabbed a journalist microphone. He actually just ripped off, from what I saw the video, ripped off the phone bit, then chucked it on the floor after he was asked a question about two-tier policing. And it was a proper, angry partridge moment. He's like, what do you think about that? And he just threw it on the floor. It's almost like
Oh, we've got the footage.
Have we got it? Let's play it.
Yeah.
Are we going to end two-tier policing, sir?
I can relate to that. I'm so glad when I'm in my bad moods that there's nobody there filming it. I mean, I bet he regretted that as soon as whatever's happened inside, he's got angry, he's come out, he's frustrated, and I bet within 10 minutes he was just in a fetal ball thinking, why did I do that?
And you know what? There's going to be some person on TV saying something he shouldn't say, like maybe he'll have time to regret it when he's in prison, because that's a crime. You can't grab somebody's stuff and throw it on the ground.
Not the worst. I mean,
it's not the worst crime. I'm saying you should be put to death.
That's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah. But he's watching it. He might put me to. He might. No. He was asked, "Are we going to end two-tier policing?" And that wasn't even in the article in the Express. They didn't even put that down.
Well,
I
I think
look special.
that's why it's such a bad image, because it's a microcosm of people's concerns and questions being ignored.
Yeah.
At least that's how it looks.
Being ignored and attacked. The guy was the guy would pull.
Well,
the thing
being
out.
silenced. I mean, a microphone is for speech, isn't it? It's taking away the.
Yes, taking away his thing and his personal damage. And then this guy's going out there saying, we got to, anybody who breaks something, we're going to put him in jail. I think this guy should be...
Yes.
I'm not saying he should, but,
Well, we don't know what you think. Interestingly, he has since apologised, which,
it doesn't, you know what?
to my
It doesn't,
earlier point.
he was
it doesn't
hungry.
matter. In this country, apology means everything, but it doesn't mean everything. The guy, maybe I'm wrong. It's not a crime. Is it a crime?
Well, it's a very little crime, isn't
But
it?
it is a crime.
passive-aggressive move.
Who thinks it's a crime?
I think the problem isn't so much that it's a crime, but that he's snapped and he's shown how much stress they're under.
Yeah.
They must be under stress.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's it. Or
because
he's
they're
hungry.
not prepared, because they've been bullying people for years now. For 20 years, they've been letting in, and now the chickens...
Well, you wouldn't want
roost.
some of the Dancing with Rainbow Flags footage put in a montage next to that, would you? That would be embarrassing. I'm not suggesting that anyone should do that, but anyway. We're
Send it in.
The Guardian next for a case of build it and they will come, Lewis.
Oh, nice.
Well, build it double and they'll come double, and that's what this is. Waiting list for children's gender care rose after opening of new... I'm not saying what I said before in the last segment. Waiting list for children's gender care rose after opening of new specialist hubs. Well, this is what happens when they close the Tavistock Centre and the Portman Centre for gender... They call it gender care. It's basically doing bad things to children, and now they're up to 5,700 under 18-year-old kids waiting for care, and they're waiting an average of 100 weeks. So they're waiting for 2 years. So not only it's like we're promising you something, more people are doing it, and they're torturing people.
Well, some of us who might have some reserves about gender care, as it's called, people like me who've read the Cass report and feel like this might be a good thing, right? I'm not necessarily upset that people are waiting a long time.
No.
I would argue that maybe having some time to think before you start gender-affirming care could be a good thing.
Yes, but now there are 5,700 people, children, who it's like, what is that called? What's going on right now? Like a mass...
Confusion?
It's a mass delusion.
Social contagion.
That's it. I knew it was one of those Latin-y type words.
Okay, very good.
Well, I can totally see your point that if you're going to be undergoing procedures which are completely irreversible, like surgery or things along those lines...
Castration.
Then I suppose, having a long time to think about it, to make sure you're sure, is never a bad thing, right? I can imagine.
Yeah, I would say that.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that they've done it deliberately? They put this 100-week, which is 2 years, delay.
I think this is the most efficient thing the government have ever done. The silence speaks volumes.
We're going to move on, closing this section with the Sun. And after that incredibly based opening ceremony, who would have thought we'd have any gender-based squabbles at the Olympics? Jonathan?
Hey, I will not hear another bad word about the International Olympic Committee. They are one of the most respected crime families in the world today. So, boxing chief says, read between the lines, as he claims he's being blocked from releasing gender test results. So we sort of have another development here in the ongoing Olympic female boxing saga. So the Algerian and Taiwanese boxers, Imaine Khalif and Lin Yutings, who are both competing at the Games, after allegedly failing eligibility tests for the IBA, they've apparently...
So the IBA is it the International Boxing Association?
Yes.
So that's one organisation, and then the Olympic boxing.
Yeah.
They are in a spat.
Yes.
So these two boxers have. We're pretty sure they failed. Well, they have failed tests with the IBA.
Yeah, but they're contesting that because apparently they're Russia-backed and there's some foul play. I don't know. This is what I've heard. But the interesting thing here is I think the Olympic Committee have tried to get the results from the IBA or something like that.
No, they've been sent the results.
They've been sent the results, right.
But they are not publicly available.
Okay.
And the guy from the IBA is saying, I'm not allowed to release these to you, but read between the lines.
But yeah, the quote is, we're not allowed to give any information, but you can read between the lines what it means. I don't know what that means. Which way? No. Which way is he going? Which way is he going? Is he saying that it's obviously fine?
Well, he's previously prevented these boxers from boxing against women.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what it means. Read between the lines. This is very contentious because everyone wants to believe that they're women, and you can measure someone's testosterone, and you got to believe people. And I've heard it myself in my own thing. I mean, it's really hard. I'm against all women boxing. I'm against all women playing sports. I'm against all sports, period. And
Is that because they hit you, Lewis?
Yes, they're hitting each other. I don't want to see some woman being hit, and I don't want to be hit. And I think us spending this much attention on sport, or sports as they call it in America, is a waste of time. But this guy from Algeria was proper scary. Even when he wasn't boxing, he was quoting God.
Well, she would say she, but this is the point, isn't it? The IOC
Am I going to be banned because I said they?
No, we're just covering both sides. I mean, the IOC are saying every person has the right to practice sport without discrimination, but I would argue, well, sport is discrimination, isn't it? It's who can do this and who can do that, and boxers need to be matched. And so even though having DSD, which is the condition that these boxers, I believe, have got, I feel enormously compassionate towards.
Certainly, yeah.
There's none of the kind of autogynephilia. There's none of that involved. It's not a trans issue, but it's still incredibly dangerous for the traditionally sized women who they might have to fight, and that's a problem, isn't it, Jonathan?
Well, absolutely, especially when it comes to something like punching, where biological men have a 2.6 times harder punch, I think. Not me, mine's 5 times harder, but that's because I train. But
that's not what your girlfriend says. Joking, obviously joking.
I hit her lightly.
Way point.
That's for a good thing.
Join us in the next section for an unusual move from Hope Not Hate. Balaclava's being banned, and we find out what happened when the richest man in Wales took a stand against woke. See you then.
Hello, good evening. Here's your GB News weather update brought to you by the Met Office. There will be some sunny spells, but also a few showers around tomorrow. Before then, though, we do have a band of rain still making its way across the country. That's because we have a front that's brought some rain to parts of northern UK already, and it's now making its way east-southeastwards across parts of England and Wales, with some heavy bursts in amongst it. Towards the southeast, we're staying drier through this evening and overnight, and here temperatures not dropping a huge amount, so another relatively warm night because of some high humidity. But we do have fresher air coming in behind this front, and so things are going to be turning fresher as we go into tomorrow. First thing tomorrow morning, do watch out for some heavy bursts of rain, particularly across parts of the East Midlands into Lincolnshire and also across some central southern parts of England. There may even be some rumbles of thunder around as well. In the Far East, starting bright but rain arriving later, and also plenty of bright fine weather across parts of the southwest, Wales, northern England England, Northern Ireland and much of Scotland too, with that front having pushed through already. That being said, there will be a few showers around, particularly towards western parts of Scotland, and as we go through the day tomorrow, we are going to see those showers becoming a bit more widespread, especially across Scotland and Northern Ireland, but even parts of England and Wales could see a few showers at times. The front is going to still be lingering across parts of far eastern England as we go through into tomorrow afternoon, but the rain looks pretty light by the time it reaches here. Still some relatively warm conditions across the Far East, mid-20s here, elsewhere a bit fresher because of that fresher air coming in. On Wednesday we can expect some heavy showery rain across Scotland and then plenty of showers elsewhere and a bit of a cool breezy feel to things as well. And then later on in the week I'm looking at a bit of rain arriving as we go through Thursday, and there could be some more rain pushing through on Friday as well as a series of fronts come in from the Atlantic. Bye-bye.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News,
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain.
Your lunchtime update on the stories that matter across the UK.
From breaking news and insightful analysis, inspiring stories and lively debates. Are you comparing yourself to a former Prime Minister?
Which is it? Stay informed, stay updated, stay entertained.
I just don't know how anyone would not want to be there.
Every weekday from midday.
We are Good Afternoon Britain, only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's get straight into Tuesday's Telegraph, where Hope Not Hate have rebranded as Hate Not Hope. Lewis, are they going to do a piece on themselves?
Can you take his book away? He's reading a book while I'm about to talk.
Well, this,
yeah.
Bukowski.
That's not going to win any friends. I mean, maybe it will win some friends.
Anyone want to read the headline?
Yes, I'll read the headline. No, I just felt I
Control your son.
Get on with the show.
My son. This is my son on the TV program here. I don't even know the guy. Anyway, Hope Not Hate boss apologizes for false, quote, acid attack on Muslim woman tweet. This is the guy from Hope Not Hate, and he's been getting on our guys here for doing bad things. This guy's Nick Lowes. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But he said that there were Muslim women who were being sprayed with acid by the white thuggery, and this guy's Mr. Anti-White Thuggery. And that bit of information, Hope, is fomented by Hope Not Hate, has been denied by the Cleveland police force up in the Northeast, not in America. And it's so funny because this guy has been he's spreading hate. This is total hate.
It's a terrible, terrible mistake, isn't it? We'd like some fact-checking going on here, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, it's first of all, it's a very good thing that this crime doesn't look like it happened, which is great, so that's a relief. But at the same time, it's a completely incendiary thing to spread if it didn't happen, because obviously that's going to rile up people. And there's almost certainly going to be some retaliation from this.
Well, this is it, isn't it? And Hope Not Hate would normally say that people incite violence, and that's one of their accusations, and that's a bad thing. And in this case, that's almost certainly going to, you've just said it, John.
And if the thuggery people had done this, I mean, this guy would have been on the case from now till forever.
Yeah,
and it's horrible. I don't know what can be done about this. You can't punish someone too extreme for making a mistake.
Well, we'll remind him of that in a month when he's chasing somebody else.
Yeah.
OK, sticking with the Telegraph. And if you wear a balaclava in Ireland, you'll soon be in big trouble. That's assuming they can actually find you afterwards, Jonathan.
Personally, I'm more of a gimp mask kind of man. Ireland to ban balaclavas after anti-immigration violence. So in response to a wave of disturbances, wearing a mask will be made illegal when there is clear intent to intimidate. So in the special instances of when you're wearing a mask like a balaclava and you're using it to cause fear or distress, it then can be ruled as illegal in Ireland. So this is a new rule that the government have tried to bring in. So they sort of fair enough. If you're wearing a mask and hiding your identity to commit crimes and intimidate people, That doesn't seem like a good thing. We should be able to stop that. Obviously, we don't want a government overreach telling you what you can and can't wear. But if it's part of intimidation, then you're already doing a crime at that point.
I agree with you. I'm a bit torn on this.
Well, I've changed my mind.
You've changed your mind?
Mm-hmm.
Just now?
Yeah.
As you were talking, or before?
Mm-hmm. No, just now.
Just now. Yeah. And so what do you believe?
I'd say don't tread on me, and I will wear whatever mask I want. But also, don't intimidate people, guys.
It's very cowardly, isn't it, when people are out committing these crimes and they're hiding their face?
Yeah,
of course.
I think it's...
Well, it could be. You could actually say it's like using a weapon. Maybe when you're committing a crime using a weapon, you should be punished more, or the greater punishment.
Sure.
If you're not using a weapon, and maybe it's the same way. If you're out there throwing bricks and you're wearing a GIMP mask or wwhatever kind of mask, then maybe you should be punished even more.
Well, the problem is, Lewis, that the government will have to assume they know what's in your mind, and this is getting a bit Orwellian.
That's a worry.
Because it says that the ban on face coverings is possible when there's a clear intent to intimidate or prevent police from identifying someone committing a crime. Clear intent? I mean, somebody's got to decide what you're up to.
No, that is true.
That's true with every law.
Very open to abuse.
That's what the Judeo-Christian principles are. They want to know if you run someone over by accident, you don't get put in jail forever. You know, it's a mistake, and if you do it, then they try to find out whether you meant it, whether you knew the person you were running over, whether it was your father and your mother was driving the car. You try to find those. That's a true story.
Interesting. Well, I'd be very worried about two-tier face mask judging.
True, you're allowed to wear it when it's cold, though.
When it's cold. Well, there you go. So I won't say... It's going to lead people to commit different behaviours on cold days.
It's going to be winter crimes, isn't it?
OK, a story in the Mail next about someone getting in trouble for violating planning laws. I thought that's what Labour wanted, Lewis.
Or did they not want it? I thought they're like Mr. and Mrs. Control Labour. Millionaire sports gear tycoon 36. He erected a woke-free zone flag at his company headquarters in Wales, and now he has to pull it down because he didn't get planning permission. I've been to Wales. It's a lovely, lovely place, but it looks like there's no planning permission. It's not like the way Britain. I don't know if you've ever been to Wales. It's like they'll put a building here.
How rude!
I don't want to say no. The people in Wales are nice,
beautiful,
and they're really beautiful buildings, except for maybe Cardiff. But the rest of the
You've been to the Gower. That's stunning.
Where is the Gower? In Cardiff.
Somewhere in the south. It's lovely. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's some lovely buildings. This guy, his name is Alex. What's his name? Alex Loven.
He's the richest guy in Wales.
And he makes goals.
1.2 million.
He makes goals. And I guarantee you his business is going to take a hit because nobody wants to see...
No, I think he'll do well out of this.
Some people will like the fact that he's Mr. No Woke Zone, but I know some of his employees are not going to be happy about it. And people who are buying goals, this is, I think...
He's a sports guy, isn't he? He sells sports stuff.
Yeah, he's a sports retailer.
That tells me that he's likely to have potentially lots of young men. They might find this quite rock and roll.
Right.
I mean, if it's just a planning issue, then this is a bit like that guy that painted a big Union Jack on his fish and chip shop and everybody said, oh, you can't have a Union Jack in this country. But actually, it was a planning thing. No, you can't paint a big monument on a wall.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But I do wonder, reading the article, it says, so Labour Council officials in Wrexham dug into his business to discover that the flagpole outside the firm's main office was installed without planning permission. So I think this is targeted research. It's actually snooping because they don't like the politics of it, rather than it just being an issue itself.
I think my point was better. I think there are people who are going to be buying gold. They're the goals that the football goes into.
Yeah.
And the little girls are going to be going, you know what I mean? There are women's football teams and men's football teams, and they're not going to want to buy a goal, so you should be nice to people.
You're saying women's boxing's in a golden age earlier.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I think you're saying go unwoke, go broke.
I don't think you should go. You should try to be as quiet about that. I'm not this.
Says Lewis Schaefer. All right.
Yeah.
More Telegraph and news of the downsides of accidentally drinking wine by the bottle. Jonathan.
Cresta, your morning routine is none of my business.
How dare you?
Scientist who called Neighbour a Spanish whore reported to police for hate crime. Was she not Spanish? Oh, right, OK. A biomedical scientist who called her Portuguese neighbour a Spanish whore and slag during... Can I say those words? I think so.
Well, you just did.
Well, I've been given the article.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know how this show works. She called her a Spanish whore and a slag during a row over a fire alarm, was reported to police for hate crime. So, Lady Kelly Madden launched a foul-mouthed rant at her neighbour after accidentally drinking an entire bottle of cheap rosé, she says. Look, it happens to the best of us. It was 10 a.m, it was winter, fine. But, yeah, so she said these slurs to the woman, and then the Portuguese lady called the police on her. That's a bit I don't know. Just say something worse back.
No, I'd actually like to apologise for some of the language in the clip thus far. Lewis, what do you think of that?
I think this is. I mean, it's horrible because she's lost her job over this thing. And she was called in front of a tribunal, and she was like, I got the impression she was trying to lie her way out of the tribunal, right? And
she said she got dared to do it by a coworker.
Whatever, but the point is, she was a biomedical scientist, and this is the Health and Care Professions Council. You know, we're judging her, and they say you can't make any money, and that's the future of this country. I mean, I'm 67 years old. I don't care. I don't have many years left. But the people out there, people are afraid. That's not nice to do stuff like that.
You're saying don't tattle, say something worse.
Not just don't tattle. The state should not be doing this. Give to the Free Speech Union.
Very nice. OK, the Daily Mail, Lewis, has the latest business learning that if you go woke, you go broke. Didn't expect this one, though.
No, well, this is a big going... Well, it hasn't happened yet, but furious bikers turned on Harley Davidson boss for going woke after he publicly promoted DEI programs, LBGT policies, and climate change issues. Of course, everyone's up on all these little names and numbers. Basically, LBGT, that's the gay and trans thing. DEI is the
diversity,
equity, and inclusion.
You're on the Joe Biden regime.
And so I didn't check where the guy came from. He's got a foreign name, Joachim Zeitz. He probably came from Germany or something. But the people are very upset. They're really upset at hearing this. And the people who are saying, you know what, we're having our big to-do coming up in South Dakota. It's this in Sturgis, you've been there many times. Of
course.
The bicycle, whatever, the motorcycle thing. This is Harley Davidson. They make all the great bikes. And they've approached bankruptcy before. And these people are saying, we're not going to do them any business.
Well, people are so angry. There's a guy talking about blowing up his motorbike rather than selling it because he doesn't want to contribute to the problem. Jonathan?
And that's quite extreme. The thing I found most interesting or shocking about this article is apparently they're actually going to change their name to Harley Gay as Fun, which I thought was a bit much.
Pushback, they're not doing that. Jonathan's just made a joke.
And the bikes, from what I've heard about Harley Davidsons, they're blowing up on their own.
Oh.
They're supposed to be really scary, aren't they? Or am I missing
They're for renegades. Harleys are for the
really
1%er gangs.
They're for real men.
The last bastion of masculinity. I'm not surprised that they're a bit upset about.
Did she laugh at my joke that I made about blowing up? They're blowing up themselves.
Is that true?
No, I don't think it was. So I want to apologise to Harley Davidson.
Brilliant. OK. Just the final section to go. We'll be discussing the latest developments from Neuralink, why it's a bad idea to think too hard, and the best way to spoil your stinky dog. Down, Lewis. See you after the break.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Tom, dying to talk to you about this. Transport for London, right? They run the buses and tubes and things in London. And they've got £2.5 million. 2.5 million quid, which they're going to spend on what?
Diversity training. I dare say they've probably got plenty of it already.
But let me tell you something. I sit on a board of a company, and I was diversity trained recently.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
And I must admit,
What was that like?
Well, I tell you, it was like stating the bleeding obvious, right? So you sit there and you say, well, why would I do that? Or why would I treat someone like that? I wouldn't do that in the first place. I don't need to be trained in this. And you just sat there for 6 hours while people told you the obvious. But what do you think of spending that amount of money for Transport for London?
It's crazy, because on the one hand, do we need this diversity training? The TfL is an incredibly diverse workforce already. The idea that there are barriers to entry there doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Also, as you say, these things are commonsensical, really. And to the point, sometimes they can become problematic because they're not just saying, you know, be open and tolerant of people and so on. It's actually preaching a more kind of divisive sort of rhetoric to people, which can be a big problem in the
you get your
workplace.
diversity training from your boss or somebody, don't you? Somebody pulls you up and says, you don't talk to people like that. This is how you talk to them. That's it. Done.
It should be that simple.
6 hours in front of...
And I know that in the grand scheme of things, £2.5 million is kind of money down the back of the sofa. But at the same time, my local tube station just closes early on random nights of the week because of the fact that they haven't got enough staff.
4 years ago, there were 655 people at City Hall earning over £100,000 a year. People might argue that's 655 too many. There are 1,100 now. 4 years later.
1,100?
Actually, 1,142 to be precise.
The People's Channel. Weekdays on GB News. Wake up to breakfast every day from 6 a.m. Followed by Britain's newsroom at 9:30. At noon, it's Good Afternoon Britain. Followed by Martin Daubney from 3 p.m. Only on GB News. The People's Channel. Britain's news channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. Opening the final section is Tuesday's Sun with an incredible story about improving sight. Obviously, it won't be as effective as Lewis's meat-only diet, but Elon Musk is involved, so it's probably still quite good, isn't it, Jonathan?
Yes, everyone's favourite extremist who has the audacity to try and, make us a multi-planet civilization and cure people. He's got some new ideas about humanity. So Musk reveals plans to give people superpowers like eagle vision as second person has received Neuralink brain chip. So the tech billionaire has revealed that a second person is now using Neuralink and they're trialling the implant. And basically this is helping people who are, I think, paraplegic to be able to control computers just by using their thoughts rather than having, I think the previous guy had to have literally a stick in his mouth and move it. Like, he was very motion restricted.
Now he can do stuff just by thinking about it.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's how sort of everything works. You move your arm just by thinking about it. Like, it's actually telepathy.
Oh, you're like a mini Elon Musk. Look at the way you're dissecting it. How does it work?
A bit smarter, yeah. But yeah, this is very cool. Like, this is, I think, where humanity might be going. We're going to have computer implants. As long as it's good and doesn't go down a horrible totalitarian, sort of authoritarian, rabbit hole, it could be really cool. You'd be able to cure people who've had injuries, be able to do extra things, be able to see differently. Elon Musk wants to give us he's kind of joking, I think, but talking about eagle vision or telepathy. It's all just electricity. It's all just your brain.
This is the scary thing. You just said that as long as totalitarians don't get hold of it. Lewis, they're going to be able to read our thoughts.
Yeah, it all starts out nice. This is what's Elon Musk. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, but it all starts out nice. It's not going to end. It's not going to end nice. And this is what happens when you have too much money. It's like me. You've got too much money. You think, well, why don't I spend $100 million? It's like nothing for him. If you've got $200 billion, what is $200 million? It's like nothing.
How is that like you? You buy ties in charity shops.
Yeah, because I got plenty of time, so I could do anything. I got to control myself from. I come on this show and I say whatever's on my mind, and it doesn't. And I want to apologize to Wales. I don't know what I said to those people, but I apologize. It's a lovely place. I love Wales. I've been to Wales many times.
And if you were wearing or had a Neuralink in your brain, we'd be able to find out if you really liked Wales.
Well, that's this is the thing about you, Cressida. You're totally right about that. It seems all nice in the beginning, and then they say, well, this is what we're going to use it for.
Think about social media. It started off as great fun, and now it is a scourge on the earth.
Well, it is, isn't it?
No, it's not a scourge on the earth. They're making it a scourge on the earth. The internet is the most amazing thing in the world.
No, I said social media.
I'm saying social media is not a scourge on the earth. It's being made one by the powers that be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It started nice.
Yes.
Yeah, we're agreeing.
Oh, OK.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah.
We're agreeing. Staying with the Sun and a story about the dangers of thinking too hard. The producers have given this to you, Lewis.
Yes, they have. Thinking too hard really does strain your brain. Fueling stress, anger, scientists warned. I mean, this is one of the most non-stories. I should store the non-stories. It's saying when you think too hard, you get headaches in your brain. You're not happy, and you should just relax. It's all about relax. There's some guy in the Netherlands, and the world is not good. So they did a meta-study of 129 countries, 170 studies, 4,900 people, and they said...
It's a lot of studies.
It's 170 studies. And they said when you think too much, you get a headache. I think, isn't that what it says?
I think it might say that. Jonathan, what do you think?
I think, I can agree. Every time you think or you try and solve a problem, you use glucose in your brain, you get tired, you only have so much capacity for thought. Mine ran out about 22 minutes ago. And obviously, it's like saying working out too much makes you tired.
It can't be good to vegetate and not think about stuff. We're always told about these puzzles.
Not think about
Yeah,
how do you what?
How do you, Cressida, how do you not think? How do you sit there and say, I'm not going to think? I know you can do...
She drinks a bottle of wine every morning.
How do you not drink a bottle of wine every morning?
Well, half, whatever.
Whatever.
A carafe, whatever you call it.
How do you not think? You have to think, especially in the
But
world.
you could have downtime, couldn't you? If you were working on something really, really hard, you could say, OK, I'm going to do an hour and then I'm going to have a break.
And that's news. That's news. That's a story that we've wasted these
Look, this is all a game. None of this is real. Go outside and hug your family. It's fine.
OK, well, talking about things that aren't real, Telegraph next. And, oh, God, it's a story about carbs. They're very real, aren't they, Jonathan?
They are real and they are a scourge. Scourge? Scourge. Scourge. So this is a story paid for by Big Weetabix. Are Weetabix actually healthy? So there's been a lot of talk about ultra-processed foods going around, especially in this office, sitting next to this man here.
Yeah.
They're bad for you. You know, the idea is if you can't make something at home, you probably shouldn't be eating it, in which case my girlfriend shouldn't eat anything. But at the same time, look, they're not healthy, but they're convenient, they're quick. Look, all I want to do is stuff my stupid fat face full of chocolate mini Bix and play Tony Hawk's 4 like it's 2003. That's all I want to do.
It doesn't mention chocolate in here.
No, it does. It talks about the chocolate Weetabix. There's all these different kinds. Look, it's probably not good for you. It's processed carbohydrates, but at the same time, better than eating a snail.
It is bad for you.
Actually, probably not.
It is bad for you, Cressida, and my son Jonathan. It is bad, but Weetabix is bad. The things that they say make it good are really what make it bad. It's low in sugar. It's 100% sugar. A carb is a chain of
We
sugar.
argue about this a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
I say it's a complex carbohydrate. You insist it's all the same thing.
What is a complex No, it's a complex
sugar
carbohydrate.
With more molecules strung together, so it takes longer to digest.
Yeah, sugar. Those are the molecules. It's a mixture of molecules. It's glucose.
But that's like saying diamonds are the same as coal, isn't it? They're not the same.
Yeah, it is the same. You put a diamond in the fire and it burns away just like a piece of coal does. It is pretty much exactly the same.
Okay, well, we've got 1 minute. Let's move on.
High in fibre. I'm trying to avoid this because I don't want to do...
Well, great. That's perfect. We're in agreement. On to The Guardian, finally. We've got to do this very quickly. And a brilliant opportunity to offend your girlfriend at Christmas, Lewis.
Oh, OK, about bringing your dog perfume. This is Dolce & Gabbana. I didn't even know that they were still around because they thought they got divorced or something. I saw the movie with... What's the movie that they were in?
30 seconds. In your time.
It says, yeah, great, put perfume on your dog. The best thing about your dog is it loves to smell. It just smells. That's all it was to do.
The best thing about your dog is that it can generate income by people selling perfume. Jonathan, what do you think?
I think these women should stop... I don't know why I assume it's women. I think these people should stop buying stuff for their dogs, have children, because civilization is on the, on the knife edge of collapse.
So wise. What a way to finish. The show is nearly over, so let's take another quick look at Tuesday's front pages. The Telegraph leads with Starmer in spat with Musk over riots. Daily Mail has anger over Elon Musk claim UK civil war is inevitable. The Times has Musk draws fire from PM with claim of civil war. And The Guardian has far-right attacks should be seen as terrorism, says ex-police chief. The Metro leads with super cops, get the call up. And finally, the Daily Star, Tango Wars, Rod Stewart upsets Trump camp with fake tan stage skit. And those were your front pages. That's it for tonight's show. Thanks to Jonathan and Lewis. Headliners is back tomorrow at 11 p.m. with Leo Kearse, Kerry and Josh. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, then stay tuned for breakfast. Thanks for watching and good night.
Great show.
Can we...
That warm feeling inside from Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello, good evening. Here's your GB News weather update brought to you by the Met Office. There will be some sunny spells, but also a few showers around tomorrow. Before then, though, we do have a band of rain still making its way across the country. That's because we have a front that's brought some rain to parts of northern UK already, and it's now making its way east-southeastwards across parts of England and Wales, with some heavy bursts in amongst it. Towards the southeast, we're staying drier through this evening and overnight, and here temperatures not dropping a huge amount amount, so another relatively warm night because of some high humidity. But we do have fresher air coming in behind this front, and so things are going to be turning fresher as we go into tomorrow. First thing tomorrow morning, do watch out for some heavy bursts of rain, particularly across parts of the East Midlands into Lincolnshire and also across some central southern parts of England. There may even be some rumbles of thunder around as well. In the Far East, it is starting bright, but rain arriving later. And also plenty of bright, fine weather across parts of the southwest, Wales, northern England, Northern Ireland and much of Scotland too, with that front having pushed through already. That being said, there will be a few showers around, particularly towards western parts of Scotland, and as we go through the day tomorrow, we are going to see those showers becoming a bit more widespread, especially across Scotland and Northern Ireland, but even parts of England and Wales could see a few showers at times. The front is going to still be lingering across parts of far eastern England as we go through into tomorrow afternoon, but the rain looks pretty light by the time it reaches here. Still some relatively warm conditions across the Far East, mid-20s here, elsewhere a bit fresher because of that fresher air coming in. On Wednesday we can expect some heavy showery rain across Scotland and then plenty of showers elsewhere and a bit of a cool breezy feel to things as well. And then later on in the week I'm looking at a bit of rain arriving as we go through Thursday, and there could be some more rain pushing through on Friday as well as a series of fronts come in from the Atlantic. Bye-bye.
A brighter outlook with Box Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
We could be calling you with the news that you've won our latest Great British giveaway, an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. David from Kent was our last big winner. Listen to what he had to say about getting that winning call.
Hi, I'm David from Kent and I won £15,000 and it couldn't have come at a better time. I was gobsmacked. What have you got to lose for what it costs? In fact, I've done it again this week, so I'd recommend it to anybody.
For another chance to win